reflection in the mirror wasn't mine, but I didn't realize it until I saw it smiling back. I had always been the kind of person who didn't believe in the supernatural, ghost spirits, and otherworldly phenomena. They were nothing but stories, harmless tales told around campfires. At least, that's what I used to think. Everything changed when I moved into the old apartment on Elm Street. It was an odd place. The building had been around for over a century with thick, creaky wooden floors and walls that seemed to hum with the weight of age. The landlord, Mrs. Harper, was a sweet woman, but she gave off a strange energy, always a little too watchful, a little too quiet. She assured me that the apartment had been vacant for years, and that I was the first person to move in since the last tenant had passed away, under mysterious circumstances. It wasn't the kind of thing you'd expect her to mention, but I brushed it off as an old woman's ramblings. Price was right, and I wasn't about to turn down a spacious apartment for a decent rent. It was the first night that I noticed something strange. I was unpacking my things in the bedroom when I caught a glimpse of myself in the old, ornate mirror hanging above the dresser. The reflection was off. I couldn't quite place it, but something about it didn't seem right. It wasn't like I looked different, but the reflection. It felt like someone was standing behind me. I spun around quickly, but the room was empty. My heart raced, but I told myself it was nothing, just the anxiety of moving into a new place. But the feeling persisted. Every time I glanced into the mirror, I saw something that wasn't quite right. Movement that wasn't mine. A shadow that seemed to linger a fraction too long. A slight twitch of my reflection's face as if it were trying to say something. I tried to ignore it. Maybe the mirror was just old. Maybe the light in the room played tricks on me. All who would believe that a mirror could be haunted. Then, on the third night, I had a dream. In the dream, I stood in front of the mirror staring into my own eyes. But this time, my reflection didn't just stare back. It smiled. Not the kind of smile I made, but a twisted, unsettling grin that spread across my reflection's face. I could feel it in my bones, the sensation of something terrible lurking just behind me. I woke up in a cold sweat, the air thick with dread. I glanced at the mirror. My reflection was normal, like nothing had happened. I sighed in relief, but the unease lingered, crawling beneath my skin. That day, I tried to go about my business, but by evening, I couldn't ignore the feeling anymore. I stood in front of the mirror once again, and this time I was determined to confront whatever was happening. As I stared into the glass, I tried to steady my breath, my heart hammering in my chest. I waited for the movement, the twitch, the smile, but nothing happened. For a moment, everything was still, just me staring into my own eyes. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw it. The reflection moved. It wasn't subtle. It was as if my reflection had decided to break free from the mirror. The figure in the glass stepped out slowly, inch by inch. I tried to scream, but the words caught in my throat. My own reflection, now completely separate from me, stood in the mirror with that same twisted grin. I staggered backward, my legs weak, but the reflection followed. It reached out toward me, its hand slowly pressing against the glass. I could feel the temperature drop in the room as if the mirror was sucking the warmth from the air. Then, without warning, the reflection spoke. But it wasn't my voice. "Can't leave." The words echoed in the room, reverberating in the silence. I turned and fled, running to the door. I threw it open, but the hallway was dark, empty. Nothing but the soft hum of the old house and the sound of my own breath. I slammed the door shut behind me and leaned against it, trying to steady my frantic pulse. My mind raced, but I couldn't understand what had just happened. Had I imagined it? Was I losing my mind? The next morning, I packed my things. I had to get out. This place, whatever it was not right. But as I turned to leave, I saw something that made my blood run cold. The mirror, which I had left in the bedroom, was now hanging in the hallway. On the opposite wall, the reflection stared back at me, and there, right behind the glass, was that same twisted grin. I couldn't take it anymore. I ran out of the apartment, not even bothering to lock the door behind me. I didn't care. Weeks passed. I stayed with a friend for a while, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't free. The mirror, wherever it was still out there, and every night when I closed my eyes, I could see that reflection smiling, waiting. Now, every time I pass an old mirror, I can't help but stop and look. I keep hoping that I'll find the reflection again, hoping I can face it, but deep down, I know better. It's waiting, and it always and it's still smiling.